learned that self-reflection isn't always pretty. Self-reflection is just how you check in on yourself. It's how you take a second to think about the actions and situations that led you to get to where you are now. It's also about holding yourself accountable for the truth in your actions and acknowledging the emotions that come along with it. This is a podcast about networking. Networking is the ability to communicate and establish relationships to help you and others progress in their future endeavors. In light of the world changing right in front of our eyes, it's very important, now more than ever, to learn and master the skill of networking. It used to just be about physical networking, but with social media now being a part of our daily lives, the ability to share dialogue has shifted from face to face to screen to screen. Today, more people are becoming more social on social media and missing the tools of how to be social in real life. In order to establish your network, you have to learn how to communicate both on and off the screen. Creating and maintaining your network is the key to unlocking your potential within yourself and opens the door to the endless possibilities of a successful future. This podcast teaches you how to establish your network and how to maintain relationships on and off your screen. Hey, nice to meet you. The Networking Podcast, hosted by Desiree Jones. It's a pleasure to meet you. Talk soon. Hey, nice to meet you. Hey, how's it going? Hey, I'm Desiree Jones, or Des for short, and welcome to Hey, nice to meet you, the Networking Podcast, the podcast that teaches you how to establish your network and maintain relationships both on and off your screen. And today's topic is, hey, are you okay? This is more about self-reflection, because when's the last time you've checked in on you? Has anything changed? Has your body or mood changed because of it? While it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of life, taking a step back to evaluate how you're doing mentally, physically, and spiritually is also important. Self-reflection is self-care. I've decided that this is a season of self, or in my case, the season of Des. Yes, I checked in on myself the other day, and I was feeling a lot better overall. It's definitely been a journey to get to where I am now, but it's because of self-reflection and checking in on me that's allowed me to keep going. One thing's for certain, while it's great to check in on others, especially when it comes to networking, no one's going to check in on you the way you do. And if you don't check in on you, this is the episode that is dedicated to helping you learn how. But before we get into that how, let's get into today's book of the day. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So reading is fundamental, and it's very important to make it a habit. If you prefer audiobooks, that's definitely fine, but something about the touch of a book, and the flip of a page just brings solitude to the mind. So with that, today's book I'd like to shout out is Small Doses, Potent Truths for Everyday Use by Amanda Seales. Yes, Amanda Seales is a comedian, writer, and actress, and for those who watch Insecure, she played Tiffany Dubois. So in her book, Small Doses, she uses her words as a remedy to the side effects of different aspects of life. One of the chapters I enjoyed was Side Effects of Being Creative. As a creative myself, I take pride in the way I express myself. Another section was Side Effects of Being a Multi-Hyphenate. She also has a podcast called Small Doses, which is highly recommended. I loved it. Everything about the podcast was amazing. And I enjoyed her book, and Amanda Seales in general, because she speaks the truth. And not everyone can handle the truth. She even says she's not for everyone. And that's about as real as you can get, to be honest. Let me tell you something. I may not know Amanda Seales personally, but she definitely feels like a homie in spirit, like for real. So flowers and a round of applause to Amanda Seales, the media mogul and entrepreneur, who I also consider a networking mastermind. Shout out to Amanda Seales. Whoop, whoop. So now let's get into today's topic. Hey, are you okay? At this moment in time, it feels like there's a shift happening, And in times of change, there should also be time to reflect. Self-reflection is very important because a lot can happen in a short period of time. And even during that short period of time, sometimes it can be hard to process everything all at once until after a change or shift happens. During major changes or shifts in my life, I tend to ask myself these questions to gain clarity when things feel a little blurry. How am I feeling? Why do I feel this way? Where is this all coming from? One thing I always try to remember about self-reflection is acknowledging what has brought me both joy and pain. What has been successful? What still needs to be improved on? Accepting every emotion I feel during my self-reflection is important to me as well, because it can also be hard to process emotion immediately. Sometimes emotions erupt during unexpected times, and rather than dismissing it, when you're in a place of self-reflection, allow your body to respond and process it. I do believe time does heal all, but recognizing what needs to be healed is self-reflection as well. Another way of self-reflection is through journaling. Do you journal? I've been journaling since 2017, and being able to just look back and read what I wrote shows me how far I've come. Journaling is therapeutic. Highly, highly recommended. So now let's get into the segment Then It All Went Left. So this talks about a time or a period in my life or a situation that went totally left. But sometimes things have to go left to go right. So let's get into this segment. All right, here we go. So I know I'm not the only one that's been in a toxic relationship. Toxic relationships or toxic environments or anything toxic isn't great, especially when you realize you're in one and it's hard to get out. So when I eventually got out of mine, I remember not even wanting to look at myself in the mirror. I felt disgusted with myself and who I became for someone that didn't value me. So much so that I didn't value me either. And it showed based on how I treated myself. I was happy on the outside, but depressed on the inside. After I got out of it, while I still felt hurt and needed to heal, the only way for me to do that was reflecting on my actions and how it got to that point. I thought through past experiences, past emotions, even the times I never want to experience again. And it was a lot to process. I even felt ashamed to think about all of it. But for me, it was the only way to break down my own actions, my feelings, and the lessons I could take away from all of it to make sure that it never happens again. So when I started writing in my journal, I would just release everything, good and bad. While in the process of journaling, I was still hurt, but every time I would write, it was like a weight that would be lifted from my mind. So what did I learn from this? We carry a lot in our minds. And if we choose to carry toxic thoughts, toxic circumstances, and toxic people, it will eventually impact our mental, physical, and spiritual ways. I learned that self-reflection isn't always pretty. Self-reflection is just how you check in on yourself. It's how you take a second to think about the actions and situations that led you to get to where you are now. It's also about holding yourself accountable for the truth in your actions and acknowledging the emotions that come along with it. Self-reflection also taught me how to navigate myself and my actions. I learned to give myself grace and not ridicule myself for making past mistakes, but lift myself up and push through the feelings of sadness, shame, and guilt. And I push myself from sadness, shame, and guilt into a space of comfort, self-love, and self-worth. And that is how the real healing starts. I'm in the season of self, and I feel great. Moving into the next segment, we're going to get into 100 commandments of confidence. And today's commandment of confidence is, thou shalt look at you, talk to you, and affirm the greatness that you already have inside of you. Self-affirmation. Confidence is about affirming your greatness. No one can confirm what you can't self-affirm. I'm going to say it again. No one can confirm what you can't self-affirm. Meaning, if you don't affirm the greatness you have to yourself, no one else can confirm what you don't acknowledge. You are awesome. So be that. Affirm your awesomeness by continuing to encourage yourself. You are amazing. When I think back on all the toxic mess I endured that almost tried to drain the greatness out of me, by God's grace and my self-affirmation, I had to rebuke the nonsense that was clouding my mindset of a champion. I am a champion, and so are you. 100 commandments of confidence. Affirm your greatness because you are. And now we're going to get into the follow-up hack. The major follow-up hack, I just wanted to send a reminder, is to set an alarm. Set an alarm or a reminder for who you need to talk to. It's easy to get caught up in the swing of things and, that we forget. But setting alarms can help you remember. And that's all we got for today. Episode 15. Hey, are you okay? Self-reflection. If you like this episode, check out the other episodes. Follow and subscribe to the podcast. Give us 5 stars. That'll be great. And thank you so much again for tuning in. Have a great day and shine bright. I'm Des at the Book of Des. Follow me, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Video Creative, Desiree Jones Video Creative, and YouTube, Desiree Jones at the Book of Des. Be great. Thank you so much. And again, shine bright. Bye.